Alright there guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are covering the other high-profile romance anime of the 2021 winter season of anime. That being HoriMiya. What was the other high-profile romance anime of the winter season? The Quintessential Quintuplets Season 2, which had its sequel recently announced as a movie next year, not a third season. So yeah, it's now officially being confirmed it's a movie, not a third season, which, don't know really how I feel about that. I mean, we'll just have to see what happens. But no, we're not going to be talking about that. We're talking about HoriMiya, which actually the naming for it is actually very similar to how Toradora got its name, because Tora is the beginning pronunciation of the word tiger in Japanese. Not tiger as in the character, the animal. And Ryuji calls himself a dragon in the show, doesn't he? And Dora is how you start the pronunciation of dragon in Japanese, pronouncing Doragon. So yeah. This show its naming system is a bit similar. It takes the first four letters of the female protagonist's last name, Hori, and the first four letters of the male protagonist's last name, Miya, which creates HoriMiya. This show starts off with a very interesting way for how the two main characters meet. First, we have Hori, who is, she's pretty, she's cute, she's popular. She's the ideal high school girl. And then we have Miyamura, the male main protagonist, where he kind of just sits on his own all the time, looking very depressed. And that's about it. Until one day, Hori's little brother Sota falls over and hurts himself, and Miyamura brings him back to Hori's house. Only he looks very, very different from what he does at school. He has piercings. He's not wearing his glasses. He looks his hair is tied up. Literally looks like a different person. And Hori doesn't even recognize him at first until he says who it is. Which ends up making Hori think, maybe he should come over a little bit more. And he does come over a little bit more. And we don't even make it through the whole of the third episode, and we're already getting confessions. It's like, okay, we need to slow down a bit. I'm not used to seeing confessions this early in a show. But yeah, during episode 3, Hori confesses to Miyamura, and then she tries to backtrack on it, which just about works. Then we get introduced to some more characters. Yoshikawa, who is a friend of Hori's, and Ishikawa, who is also a friend of Hori's, and then becomes a friend of Miyamura as well. The thing with Ishikawa is he actually has a crush on Hori-san as well. But as you could kind of guess, Miyamura takes her away from him a couple of episodes later. One day Hori is ill and Miyamura comes to her house to comfort her and see she's okay, and literally then goes and properly confesses to her and then leaves the room, knowing full well that she's really still awake. As much as she looks like she's asleep, she's awake, and he knows that. So the next time they see each other, she tells him that she did hear, and she feels exactly the same way, and then the two of them start dating. We then meet the president of the student council, whose name is Sengoku. That's so ironic, isn't it? With his name being Sengoku, and the other high-profile romance anime of the 2021 winter season had a character, Miku, who liked the time period of the Sengoku Warlords. That's definitely not intentional. That's just a very, very big coincidence. And we meet his girlfriend, Remi Ayasaki, who is quite small. He says something mean to Hori, and Miyamura decides to walk up to him, grab him by the tie, and give him a massive swoof headbutt. And when he was asked, why did you just do that? He's like, because he was pissing me off. Okay, but I can feel like that a lot of people would be doing that if that was their excuse, because if that's all it takes for Miyamura to headbutt someone, be careful. Then they give us this this weird little dynamic where, for an episode, we have this character called Sawada, and she basically spends the whole episode stalking Miyamura, only to ask him when is he going to break up with Hori-san. Him thinking, why is she asking me this? You're probably thinking she's asking him this because she wants to get with him. Well, think again. No, she does not want to get with him. She wants to get with her. Yes, she asks Miyamura to break up with Hori-san so she can get with Hori. Sorry, Sawada, but the only issue you've got here is I'm pretty sure Hori is not gay, so you're never gonna have her. Probably should look for someone else. But yeah, they spent that's the whole dynamic of that episode, which she did come back later on, but I'll get onto that later. Then we finally meet Kyosuke, Hori's dad, who is a little bit hesitant on Miyamura to begin with, but quickly warms up to him. Oh, and the weirdest thing about Kyosuke is he has the hentai protagonist haircut. You know the one I mean, the one where the hair is completely covering the eyes and you cannot see the character's eyes. Yes, Kyosuke has the hentai protagonist haircut. Bit strange. Then we meet a couple more characters of Iura and Kono Sakura, who both have green hair. Yeah, something I probably should have mentioned is this show has tons of different hair colours on its characters. Miyamura has black hair, Hori has brown hair, Yoshikawa has kind of between blonde and brown, Ishikawa has purple, Sengoku has red, Ayasaki has pink, and we have Iura and Sakura have green hair. So many different hair colours in this show. Oh, and Kyosuke has grey hair. It's either grey or silver, I can't quite tell. It's one of the two. Might actually be silver. But yeah, almost every single character in this show has a different hair colour. Which is quite interesting, because you don't see this that often. Yes, the quintuplets all have different hair colours, but that's not the point. They have to look different somehow. Whereas these characters didn't have to have so many different hair colours, but they do anyway. Then we discover that Hori-san has a bit of a kink. She's a bit like Darkness from Konosuba. she's a bit of a masochist. She likes it when people, well, specifically Miyamura, she likes it when he yells at her. It's so weird. So he has to then pretend to be pissed off at her for something and yell at her and even slap her, where you think, okay, that's a bit abusive, but it's really, Hori-san is loving it. It's a bit weird, if anything. And Miyamura's tattoos and piercings are finally discovered by a couple of people at school. He'd been trying to hide them for a long time by always wearing big clothing, multiple layered clothing and big clothing, so no one would ever see his tattoos but they did. But not everybody did. So then they give us a little flashback part of the episode where we see how Sengoku and Ayasaki first got together. Because they were already together at the start of the show, so they decided to give us a flashback to how they got together. It's a bit weird how they got together because Sengoku was just in the student council room and Ayasaki basically asks him, what would you do if the world was to end today? And his response to that question is, I would tell you that I like you. And he ain't kidding. Of which then she says exactly the same thing back to him. And that's how they got together. Then we have a bit of a love triangle dilemma where Yoshikawa and Sakura both have feelings for Ishikawa. Yoshikawa's the type of person that will never ever say that she wants something, but people who know her well can read her, know that she, as much as she wants something, she will never ever say it out loud. Which I guess that could be admirable in some way, because she's never going to be selfish and try and force something to happen. But if she's never going to say that she wants something ever, she's never going to get anywhere in life, is she? But I guess that is what she chooses to do. So Sakura makes cookies for him, which he very much enjoys. And then Yoshikawa decides to bake for him and severely burns the cupcakes, but he eats them anyway and asks when she's going to make them again. So the two of them have a little bit of a standoff of who's going to get Ishikawa. Is Sakura going to do it, or is Yoshikawa going to do it? Well, in the end, this other guy comes into the mix called Yanagi, and he basically confesses to Yoshikawa out of nowhere. And he's basically the most attractive guy at their school. Of which Yoshikawa turns him down. And when Yanagi meets Yoshikawa's older sister, her sister's like, Why did you turn this guy down? What's wrong with you? The problem that Yanagi has is he's way too formal. He speaks way too formally to people. He never loosens up. So in order to turn him down, Yoshikawa asks Ishikawa to pretend that they're dating, even though they're not. The big thing for Yoshikawa is she actually does want the whole her and Ishikawa dating thing to be real. She doesn't want it to be fake. She never ends up telling him that, though. She never ends up confessing in the end. As much as she wants to, that's the type of person that she is. She will never ever say what she wants. But the people that can read her the best don't have to know, don't have to be told by her that she wants something. They just know. And closing towards the end of the show, Miyamura ends up having visions of him talking to a younger version of himself, basically telling the gloomy, depressed version of himself that always got bullied when he was a kid that don't worry, it does get better. When you get to high school, you meet loads of new and great friends. You even get a girlfriend. And life does get better for you. Of course, if you think about it, why is he telling the younger version of himself this? When the younger version of himself is still him. Like, he still was that person at one point. He was the one that felt like that before he and Hori-san properly met. In the end, no one actually wins the Yoshikawa versus Sakura battle for Ishikawa. Iuru tries to help his sister get better grades to get into a specific high school. And Kawada decides to pop her head back in to the show after spending about 4 episodes away from it. The thing with her character is, if she was only in the 1 episode where she basically was only there to be a disturbance and like an interference to Hori and Miyamura's relationship, if that's the only reason she was there and then they got rid of her and we never saw her again, I'd feel like she's a massively pointless character. But no, she does actually return for 1 more episode where she still wants Hori, but of course isn't going to get her. But she does try to get impressed by some of the boys as well. So she's at least giving herself some options, I guess. Then graduation rolls around. And this is where Miyamura for the last time talks to a younger version of himself and tells that younger version of himself all the things I said earlier. It gets better. You don't get bullied anymore. In fact, you get a lot of new friends. You even get a girlfriend. Your life is going to get better, as much as you don't think it is. Which, that is a good message, but it's not true for everybody. Like, it does get better. That's not the case for everybody. This is the thing that people need to realise. Just because it might get better for you, doesn't mean it's going to get better for anyone around you. At all. It might, but there's no guarantee of it. So everybody returns to the classroom to have their final class group photo. The rest of the guys that aren't Miyamura and Hori decide to book a trip to the ocean, or I guess the beach, book a vacation to the beach as their graduation celebration reward, I guess. And as Hori and Miyamura walk back to Hori's house, Hori asks, Miyamura, I want to be with you forever. And he says the same thing, he says it to her first. And she says it straight back to him. And that is where HoriMiya concludes. What did I think of this show? Well, if I had to be honest, the thing I liked about this show the most is actually the fact that the relationships of the side characters were very, very much developed. Similar to how in Toradora, the whole point was Ryuji wanted Kushieda and Taiga wanted Kitamura, but but slowly but surely they were developing the attraction and feelings for Taiga and Ryuji to get for each other, which originally of course that wasn't the goal for either of them to begin with, but the show develops that relationship more and more to where near the end of the show you know exactly what's coming. And that's what this show does. Hori and Miyamura's relationship is of course the one that is developed the most, as that's what you'd expect. But such as Yoshikawa and Ishikawa, there's the two of them get quite a lot of screen time together, as it develops their feelings as well. Because you've got some romance shows that basically only develop the relationship of the main characters, and the side characters don't really get a look in to be developed. But no, HoriMiya does a great job of developing the side characters. Would I say it's better than the Quintessential Quintuplets Season 2? No, of course not. It's going to take something special to beat that as my anime of the year. It's going to take something really special. But we've got quite a number of shows still that are now ongoing. Some finished, some have just started up, some still to begin. 2021 is going to be a pretty good year for anime, I feel. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please be sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're new. Tell me what you thought of HoriMiya if you've seen it. And until next time, catch you later.